Hello, Summer.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hey, thanks so much for being here today to have this shared time and space together.
Yeah, this is a great Saturday activity. I'm glad to be here.
Yay. So I want to welcome anybody who's watching. Wherever you are, whenever you're watching this, we welcome you. We will introduce ourselves. We are here today to share something that we love and that we practice together. We're going on 5 years sharing this practice of authentic movement. So we want to share that with you, not only in words, but we want to show you what it looks like and feels like. So my name is Rebecca DeGraw. I have 30 years as a career as a dance movement therapist, and I'm just noticing my internet is unstable. So I've been a dance therapist for 30 years, and I currently identify as an embodiment coach. And I lead a weekly authentic movement group. As I mentioned, we're going on our 5 year anniversary. Summer, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Summer. I have a long history of movement being kind of foundational language for me. I started dancing when I was about 4, originally ballet and then modern dance. And now I get to explore movement in this other profound way, which is really exciting for me. And it's supportive for my work. I work in the nonprofit sector, and there's always a lot to process through the body. So that's part of why I am dedicated to this practice. So,
Beautiful. And you're already flowing into talking about it. Thank you for that. Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll start with a little bit of history, and then we'll get back to that beautiful flow, the way we love to talk about it from our bodies. Yeah, authentic movement was created by one of the pioneers of dance therapy, Mary Starks Whitehouse, and she is a pioneer on the West Coast. She was teaching dance, and her students were just feeling something unique and different about her classes. They were really uh, body mind connected. And she then did a little bit of work with Jungian therapy, Jungian analysis, and she ended up creating authentic movement. It's the blend of movement and Jungian ideas, um, so that we have this opportunity to connect to our inner world, our subconscious, to symbols, imagery, archetype, and this idea that comes from Jung of active imagination, where we can dream while we're awake. I love that.
Mm.
So we're really in this practice quieting this thing called our brain, our mind. This 20% of what we do in life comes from this mind place. And what we're doing is we're tapping into our brain body, our emotional heart brain, our gut brain, this whole inner world of wisdom that lives in our body, simply by slowing down and listening and tracking that felt sense, that inner world, tracking it, following it, being with it without um, analyzing it or judging it, just allowing it to be. Yeah.
Mhm.
So thank you, Mary Whitehouse.
Mhm.
Yeah, when I kind of start with that history and start to talk about what it is, what comes up for you, Summer?
Yeah, well, what comes up for me is that this is a revolutionary act.
Yes.
We live in a world, we live in a world that is like, designed to distract us from our inner life in a lot of ways. And yeah, I think that's why I consider our practice a sacred space to come home to myself and come home to other people as I witness them, come home to a deeper sense of community where it goes beyond words. We often think that in order to be with others, we have to be talking. And this is kind of deconstructing some of those socialized norms and dropping into a profounder sense of who we are as human beings. So that's where I go when you say that.
I'm so glad you said that because I did want to say that authentic movement is countercultural.
Mhm.
that all the ways this culture around us, these systems of oppression,
Mhm.
are anti-cultural. These systems of oppression are engineered to keep us disembodied, to keep us just in that realm of 20%. And in
Mhm.
that realm of only 20% of using our mind and brain are um, thought patterns, beliefs that aren't true. So, this is a countercultural act of dropping out of our head into our bodies and tuning in to what is so much more true. And um, yeah, our intuition, our inner wisdom, all that beautiful sourced place. So, authentic movement is countercultural because we are engaging in the act of deep listening, and
Mhm.
um, not just auditory listening. We're listening with our entire being, all of our senses,
Mhm.
and listening from that intuitive place.
Mhm.
There's so many times I listen to somebody talking and I listen in imagery, probably because of this practice.
Mhm.
So, yes, thank
Yeah.
you for saying that out loud.
Yeah. And it's also, there's often a lot of really deep meaning making that happens, but there's also times where it's just like, and that was, and there's a great trust in a deeper meaning that goes beyond our, like you said, brain understanding. There's things that happen that I just kind of like leave it where it was and say, there's some juices cooking there, and I don't even understand what that is. And I think practicing that trust in deeper meaning making is also supportive for our own unfolding. Like if we have to really understand everything, then we're kind of missing the point. So,
Yes.
yeah.
And this is why I invited you to talk with everybody about this. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just speechless now.
We just go there.
Because when you talk, I can think of all the 20 pathways we could go on from there. Um, yeah, this practice, it is simple and profound. So it's this simple ritual that we don't have to work so hard at. And so we just kind of have an experience and allow it and let it live in us and let it percolate. And we can circle back around to it. And there is a thread that runs through our practice across time, across our own thread, the thread we weave with each other. All the times we've been together are interconnected. And there's a deepening, a widening that happens when we gather.
Yeah, I mean, I think your word practice is really important because a lot of times people can come into this space and they're like, oh, this is uncomfortable, or I'm not used to people really witnessing me, and this feels very vulnerable, and it really is. It's a practice to be dedicated to, and in that dedication, like just beautiful, exquisite things come out of it that if you didn't do it on a regular basis, you get a lighter sense. There's definitely profound things can happen in just one session, but seeing it as a practice that you dedicate to, like you would a meditation practice or whatever, is I feel like that's important to drop in.
Yeah. And that's one of my first lessons when we started 5 years ago was just, wow, I trust this practice. This
Mhm.
practice is so simple. We're basically showing up and doing the same thing each week, but it's never the same. So what holds us is so simple and the same, and then from there, um, and
And
it's so,
every week we come out on the other side saying, I feel different.
yes.
Like every week there's a shift that happens in just the short amount of time we're together. Yeah.
So there's these layers you mentioned earlier, these interconnections that happen when we practice. In authentic movement, there's two roles. There's mover and witness, and within those roles, the interconnections you mentioned earlier, personal, self-other, self-other group, our group, and the collective. So there's all these interconnections. So as mover, I have the layer of myself with my own inner witness. And then I have my relationship between myself and my witness, the person who's holding me. So all these beautiful interconnections, and we can begin to look at the alchemy of that. We are energy beings, and when we come together, our energy crosses over. So an example of that showing up when we practice in a group setting, um, several witnesses might notice, oh, my mover and the mover across the room are doing the very same movement. Their eyes are closed. So there's these interconnections that show up in synchrony in amazing ways. So this practice is about coming together, being in relationship with each other, and using this alchemy as fuel to go there.
Mhm. Yeah, when you say that, it makes me think about my own process over the past 5 years. I am just very aware that when I first started this practice, it was really hard for me to show up, especially in community. Um, and I think that, again, doing this on a weekly basis helped me get more comfortable with being witnessed in my regular life as well, not just in our space. And also deepening my understanding of that interconnection, because I think being brought up in this culture of like, you're very independent, um, and individualism and things like that, I think that I needed to have this practice to remind me that there's always a deeper interconnection. I still forget it. I'm still socialized to forget it, but yeah, it's somewhere deeper in my bones because of this work.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah. This work, we're really strengthening our center, our core. We're strengthening our awareness of personal sovereignty so that we can interconnect and blend. Strengthening our awareness of ourselves then strengthens our awareness of, oh, here's this community. Sometimes I have to put the whole before my own needs. I can tend to myself and I can tend to the whole. And I understand my actions have an impact on the whole.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So it's an ecological perspective.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's all there. So I'm glad you mentioned a little bit of your progression in the work, and I've had my own learning and my own growth from that 5 years ago starting place. Um, and I know that people come to the practice with, culturally, we both crave and yearn, we're longing to be seen, heard, and understood. And culturally, oh my gosh, we're completely frightened by that. That is scary. So, this act of being vulnerable is countercultural. This act of being authentic and reclaiming our authenticity is countercultural. So, yeah, it's an act of revolution.
Yeah.
So, yeah, before we shift to showing what this looks like and giving people who are watching an opportunity to witness, anything else your heart wants to say, your mind wants to say?
Just an encouragement for people to have the bravery and curiosity to try this. It is simple, but profound. And yeah, I just wanted to give that encouragement to people who are
Yeah,
watching. Yeah.
come and join us.
Yeah.
We already love you.
And I think, that's something to say, particularly how you hold space. there's a profound sense that all is really welcome and held, and there's a sense of neutrality in how we witness each other, and yeah, just a sense of like foundational um, support, but it's not a support that's like, yeah, good job, although we sometimes do that. But it's a support that's just like, you be you and I will be me and we will be together. So I just want to mention that if people are like, what is it going to feel like to do this with other people, and what is the community I'm going to find when I come into this space? I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. And how countercultural is it to know that all parts of you are welcome? The bright, shiny, beautiful, I'm great today parts, and then the, oh, oh my gosh, this is a dark, shadowy place, but I just really want to move here and explore it and learn from it. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so we do all parts. Yeah. So we're going to shift so that Summer is about to take the role as mover, and I'll be in the role as witness. And what you'll see, Summer will close her eyes. She'll begin to move. And Summer, do you want to describe how you arrive and track and follow your felt sense? Kind of describe, we're not doing prescribed movements. It's going to flow from you. You're listening and responding.
Mhm.
What's that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, usually there's a settling in to my body process, and then like a tuning in process. But I usually don't try to think about it too much. I try to get beyond the thinking brain and just go into whatever wants to move. And almost like free association, if someone says a word and you say a word, automatically, I just try to let my body and my mind go into that free association state. And yeah, sometimes there's profound thoughts that come in and kind of go, and sometimes there's like, mundane thoughts that come and go. It's, kind of like doing, I sometimes call this moving meditation when I just want a short sort of description of what I do, because I'm just letting those thoughts move through my mind and move through my body however it wants. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. So um, for people who are watching Summer move, she might be following physical sensations. You might notice and you might feel if emotion comes up. You might, as witness, begin to experience a story. You might begin to see imagery coming from Summer's movement. So, as a witness, in our culture, we strain to see, we strain to listen. And really, you said this one day, Summer, this wisdom comes from Summer. Just sit back and allow the movement to come to you, allow the experience of it to come to you. So, I'm going to be witnessing with all my senses, visually. Summer may make sounds, breath. Um, I'll be listening and feeling her movement and watching and seeing. So yeah.
Great. Okay. We ready?
Yes. And for folks watching, this is a little bit what it's like to come to our online group when we do this on Zoom. Mover and witness always greet each other.
Yeah, so I'll share a little bit about my experience. Um, so I start with kind of a hand movement, and it feels like I'm connecting with different parts within my energy field. Um, and it brings me to um, relationship with this hand. It almost feels like a mirror. And I keep kind of going deeper and deeper into that mirror. And then finally, I have to pull myself away and back into a different reality. And that shifts that movement to uh, not working so much with different energy nodes, but just working in the field. Um, and there's a lot of sense of relationship with the earth, um, that resources me to expand out and up into a relationship with the sky as well. Um, and at one point, I reach behind me, and it feels like a relationship with ancestors, with my own soul's past, and I'm also bringing that forward into the future. Um, and I think I end kind of here, and relationship to sky, and it's a feeling of being connected to my maternal line, to the maternal sides of my ancestry, the support there, and it's almost like being connected to the sun, to like a more masculine sense of energy coming in, and I'm kind of the conduit between the two. So, yeah.
Thank you. As you arrive, I do see you dropping into like a feeling, sensing place, and your fingers begin to have like a pulse to me, and I can almost feel the rhythm in my body, and it's taking me to like blood flow, like a pulse in that, and heart muscle. Um, it's a soft rhythm, but it was so I experience it in such a steady way, and you begin to move um, out from your beginning place, and all these interconnections, front, back, side, side, and it brings you to what feels like, in this moment, I'll call it your power statement, where your arm and your elbow come down. It's connected to your hand earlier. And it's just like, wow, like powerful statement has just been made and sent into the earth. Um, in contrast, as you rise up, I see these soft wings, and I see you taking this wise statement. I'm going to say that it's packed with wisdom. And as you come up with wing arms, it's like you're then spreading this statement in a softer way, spreading it and connecting it to these previous directions. Yeah, I think I said what I meant to say, but yeah, this strong power statement rising up and redistributing the wisdom to all these connections. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So for people watching, you can see the simplicity of the practice is the mover comes back, mover and witness come together, mover shares first, witness shares, and that's it. Those are the layers. So primarily for the mover, you come away with your lived experience, your telling of it, and then this extra layer of the witness sharing their experience. Sometimes they're completely different. Sometimes they're a puzzle piece. Sometimes it's just another nice layer um, mushed together. Yeah. So we want to share with you just one more quick movement. There's that's a traditional practice, and there's other ways you can structure the experience. So I'll be moving briefly, and we'll come back and we call this 5 minutes, 5 words. So it might be a little shorter, but we'll just come back and sort of like haiku poetry, word poetry. Drawing in, wash cycle, air dry.
Giving, receiving, giving, receiving, 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 flow, stillness.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Summer. We'll bring this fun extra connection to a close for today. And I encourage people who are intrigued, curious, scared, but willing to show up anyway, to reach out. Um, I'll have my resources connected to this video so that you can contact me and ask your questions. Tell me what's scary, tell me what's thrilling, and we can't wait to have you join us. Thank you. Bye, everyone.